Well, good morning, folks. We are still here in New Mexico. I have a prayer report. A couple weeks ago, our little 2-year-old decided to put a quarter in our CD player, which fortunately for us meant that we could only listen. Meant we could only listen to David Crowder, who was in there. And fortunately for us, we all kind of liked that album, but we've been praying for that quarter to come out. Last night, God answered our prayers. I kind of would have loved to see it be like, Jesus pulling the fish, or the disciples pulling the fish out of the water and 2 coins popping out. But God went a different direction this week. And our host here, Ron, I just mentioned it in passing, and he's like, oh, and he came out, he pulled this thing apart, and he got the quarter out. So, answered prayer. And now we get to listen to other things besides David Crowder on the way home.
All right, so last night we were playing music at a church gymnasium while they were serving food to the community. It's something they do on Mondays, I think. And so we were just kind of set up on the side and playing. And it was definitely one of those nights where you feel like you're fighting through the set, not necessarily because we didn't feel together. It's just audience participation, I think, matters a whole lot as far as band morale goes. And so it was a push for a little while. And there was a time where it really didn't feel like there was any participation. Not really, like, people were just kind of doing their own thing. And, Carl encouraged him several times to jump in. And eventually we shared a little bit of testimony, and I shared about fathers that a testimony about our grandfather, who used to be he was a very stoic man, and how our dad worked against that in his own life, and he was a much softer presence, and like talking about how you don't have to follow the exact footsteps of your dad, and that you can make it, you can let the Lord soften your heart. And so there wasn't a whole lot of visual response, but they would clap at the end of every song, and a man came up to us afterward and he really wanted to let us know that they've had music come in before for that event, and there's never been a response that he's seen. There's never been, especially not clapping or like any kind of response. A couple of people came up and talked afterward, so it was definitely a hard set, but I think it was still fruitful. It's just not a very obvious response. Do you have something you wanted to add, or are you just talking?
Well, Dad said that was the first time they ever clapped for anybody.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they heard that. Hopefully, yeah.
Good morning from our last day in New Mexico. Last night we had some amazing food. We're going to share a food report with you about that. Today we're driving to Amarillo, Texas. It feels great right now. Apparently right behind us is a cold front with snow, so we'll see what comes of that. We are battling sickness yet again. So that's part of what's going on. This time it's a cold, which isn't as bad, but still no fun. Carly's not feeling well today, so we're going to be praying for her and for me. I'm always praying for me. All right, let's hit the road and get that food report. A road runner just appeared, and I'm going to film him through the windshield and then try to get closer view outside. I have ice in my mouth.
Teresa?
For some reason, I think it's a she, and she seems pensive, like she's going to take a dump. Oh, that's exactly, I think, what's going on. But I think I'll just let this little bird, Big Bird, have its time. Look, there. As soon as I started to walk away, its crest went up, and then when I turned the camera on, it went down. Like, nothing to see here, folks. Maybe it's a male. I don't know. I'm confused. Apparently birds are having confusion issues too. Oh well, time to hit the road. But that was cool. Okay, animal report. We saw a roadrunner.
Okay, food report. Last night we ate at a Mexican food restaurant in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It felt very legit. It was like the real thing. It was like all the locals were coming to eat there. It was really cheap. And I got a gordita. which is like 2 flatbreads with meat in the middle. No, I got a gordita first. I got a gordita and a torta. And the gordita though was a chocolate chili flavored beef. It was the beef with chocolate chili sauce. And then the torta, which was basically a sandwich, a meat sandwich, was, how do you guys say it? How do we say it? Bako.
Barbacoa.
Yeah.
Barbacoa, which is beef head, cow head.
I ate a cow head. Me too. I ate cow cheeks.
You ate cow. And then Greta got a taco with cow tongue in it, and the kids liked it. Everybody liked it. It was really good. It was really cheap. It was amazing. It was a good find.
Alrighty, well, it is concert time, and Susie is gonna have to stay here with Carly and Lucy, unfortunately, because they are still sick. But we are gonna press on.
What are we doing tonight, Risa?
Singing in the kids' room.
In a kid's room, right? That's why it's so colorful. And there's little stuffed animals up here. You can see the panther. It's pretty cool. I have no idea where we are right now. Well, tonight was a good night. A very special moment with a little girl there that I'll tell you about tomorrow. It's very late now. Well, good morning, folks. Good morning. Let's see. There we go. Good morning, folks. It is almost 6 o'clock. We have a long drive ahead of us today because we have to get home within a couple days, and Greta has to get back to work. So today we have to drive 8 or 9 hours, and so we're trying to leave early. Susie's still sick, so I think she'll be a lot better today, though. But we're trying to get out here. It's 16 degrees here in Texas. It should be warmer. It just should be. But I think it's going to get better as we drive. So my hand's freezing. We're going to go. We're going to be taking you with us on our long drive today. All right, folks, we've been driving across the entire state of Oklahoma today, so we only have a couple more days to get home. We're going to stay here tonight. We're going to stay in Arkansas tonight, so we have a couple more hours to go. We're stopping for a bite to eat. Then we're going to drive about 5 hours to Nashville, the Nashville area, tomorrow night for a worship event. Then we're going to drive home. So we're all looking forward to being at home. Mission's still going to go on when we get home, so never fear. We're never stopping, not till we're dropping, and we hope and pray that'll be a long time. But I wanted to share with you about last night. We had a great time of worship, but the highlight of the night was afterwards. There was a little girl, 10 years old, short, beautiful little girl, and I was just talking with her, and someone told me she was a foster child, and I just wanted to pray for her. And I asked her if I could. She readily agreed, and then I prayed a number of things, but one of the things, I just blessed her with the knowledge of the love of God. And when I finished praying for her, I had my hand on her head, and I blessed her by name. You know, I said, I bless you, and I said her name with the knowledge of the love of God. And I think that matters, and I think it mattered to her. Anyway, she looked up at me. She had this huge tear in her eye, and I asked her if I could hug her, and she just smiled and nodded, and I just held her, and she wept on my arm. I had hot tears bouncing off my forearm, and her foster dad was right there. Everyone in the room knew something special was taking place there, that somehow I think through my hug she was receiving the love of the Father, and I'll never forget it. I mean, it was incredible. The highlight of this trip for me. I wanted to take her home and adopt her at that moment, but I don't think it's that easy. But anyway, that was a huge highlight, and just to see God working like that. Afterwards,
her friend who was with her thought she was upset because she was crying, and she corrected her and said, no, there are two kinds of tears. In other words, those were tears of joy. So wow, praise God for that. We're here catching up with Susie the mom here at the end of the trip. How are you feeling?
Well, I can't really talk.
That could be good or bad. I'm just kidding, it's bad. Actually, I haven't been able to really talk to Susie for the past few days because she can't talk back. But she can still talk back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's always a way.
Yeah, but we're tired. Last day, headed to Nashville, but we are going to make it count. We're not throwing this day away because we're tired, right?
Oh, right.
Give us an enthusiastic thumbs up. Ha ha.
Carl asked us to share what we've learned on this trip, so it feels only fitting. I feel like I'm at the end of a VeggieTales episode. I think on this trip, I mostly, like, one of my biggest takeaways has been the fact that even from early on in the trip, God has been pressing the point of, regardless of what we see, regardless of like the sicknesses that have happened and the just the attacks that we've felt, He's still causing all things to work together for our good, and for the good of those that love Him and are called according to His purpose. So that includes everybody that that knows Him, that we're ministering to, the people that we've come into contact with. We don't know all of the things that God has protected us from, but we do know that He's causing all things to work together for good. And I feel like I genuinely can say that without like it feeling forced at all. Having experienced like the ups and downs of the last 5 weeks, it just seems more clear to me that that is in His character, that regardless of if we see the healing right then or if we see the breakthrough right then, regardless of whether or not we're seeing the results as we want to see them, it's still His will and His intent that good should take place, and that His kingdom is a kingdom where good things happen, and that is His will, that is His hope, that is His intent for us. And I find a lot of hope in that. I feel like I have a better understanding of His character in that way. I also learned that Justice and Carly and Wesley make a great team in the youth room, and some things that went down in there will stay in there. It was a good time.
What?
Bless Greta's heart, and we bless her with a hunger. We bless her with an increase, God. That she would be like Moses and just say, if you don't go with me, I don't want to go. That she would be so hungry for you, God, in your presence.
Well, so ends the last night of our ministry tour for now. We are headed to the hotel and headed for bed. All right, last morning of the tour. Hotel report is who cares? It was another hotel. We're going home. We're glad about that. So as we drive home, I'm gonna share kind of what we learned on this trip.
Are we excited to be going home?
Howdy, folks. I'm filming while driving, which is definitely against the rules, but actually I'm not really. I'm only technically driving because we're not moving. We're close to home. We're back in North Carolina, and now we're stuck in traffic, which is no real surprise because it seems to happen every time. But we've been listening to the Scarlet Pimpernel, and maybe we'll get a chance to finish it. Probably not, but it's gonna just be tauntingly late. Anyway, Susie's gonna share what she's learned on this trip. You're gonna have to tune in your ears closely because she can't talk. She sounds like a chain smoker.
No.
It's already recording since you probably don't know how to press the button.
Oh my. I don't feel prepared for this question. What did I learn? I learned that if you want to see effective prayer, you have to keep praying. That when you get sick, you have to keep persevering, and you have to keep trusting and obeying, even when it doesn't look the way you thought it was going to go, or you're unhealthy, or your kids are puking, which Joey's thinking about doing here pretty soon.
Yay! I need the bathroom!
Wesley needs the bathroom, and we're stuck in a traffic jam in the mountain pass, and there's nowhere to use the bathroom. But yes, I was gonna say, like when Carl said, well, what did you learn? The first thing that came to my head was, well, I learned how to, that you can hear in the spirit, that you can smell in the spirit, and that I appreciate Bethel, and I appreciate people who really speak against and pray against witchcraft, and really take it seriously. And I learned to appreciate that sort of stuff more. I just learned about it.
Hey, Lucy, we're gonna go home.
But I do feel like I've learned that healing, people can pray for healing, and they can either keep trying and maybe get an answer that they're hoping for, or they can give up. And it sounds like it's almost a learning process in becoming any of the gifts, whether it's prophecy or healing or teaching. Like, you have to practice, and so I've learned that you have to practice. But sometimes I want to complain instead of practice. But that's what I've learned. You excited, Joey?
Yes. I'm ready to sleep in my own bed. Ready? Go! 3, 2, 1!
All right, we're home.
Is that a book?
We're home.
Dad.
Oh boy.
And look on the back. Look on the back.
Oh, that's adorable.
I'm precious back here.
Our house got sticky noted.
Really?
Somebody was in here and sticky noted things.
Where?
Looks like there's some more over here.
There's some in the girls' room.
Yep. I'm guessing this is the work of some ants. Some of my sisters. Yep. All right. Oh man, they definitely sticky noted around. Yes. Oh, I think I know who it was, because in this picture it says that it looks like Juliana's saying, "I'm pregnant."
She's pregnant?
Wait, really?
That's what it says over here.
This is Valerie's way she writes D's. But Jordan is... Oh my gosh, it's scary.
Huh.
It's from the grave.
It could be Valerie, but I'm thinking it's a Jordan and Juliana.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If Valerie too.
Okay, it could be then. That could be Jordan.
So they might be
I saw it.
Jordan and Juliana, my brother and sister-in-law, our brother and sister-in-law, may be pregnant.
There's a note from the Stallmans.
A note from the Stallmans. Nice. Welcome home, everyone. We miss you. Espen wanted to make sure you knew that she loves you and is happy you're home.
I called it. It's Valerie's handwriting.
She had to pick up a few things.
Look.
Note to self, Valerie's my favorite. I thought it looked like my handwriting somewhat, which I'm sorry, Valerie, that's not a compliment. All right, well, I'm going to come back with a few words. We got to unpack now.
Somebody put a note on the toilet.
On the toilet? Oh my. Say goodbye to your youth leader.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Well, all good things must come to an end, Greta. Let's get your crap out of here.
There's a lot of it.
Well, I don't mind saying that I'm gonna miss Greta being around every day. Must see more of her. Well, it's time for me to go, but I just wanted to share a little bit of what I think I've learned on this trip, and I'm going to be doing more of this in the podcast form here in the near future. But I would say that on this trip, even though we were sick a lot of the time, we did see some healing, and I think that we are in the process, I am in the process of learning more about healing. And like Susie mentioned, perseverance, I think, is the key. Not in the sense of praying the same thing over and over or begging God for a healing, but more like, I asked for healing, I commanded healing, I didn't get it. What's going on? What is the root issue here? Lord, speak to me. And I think that's going to be, or is already, a key to healing. Obviously, there are times where we feel pain, we go through suffering. That's part of life. But I do believe that it is ultimately God's will. It is God's will to heal us. And having that confidence gives me the strength to persevere in prayer. And for everyone that we minister to, we know God does want to heal this person. And it's only a matter of asking God how. How does he want to heal them? What is the process? So that's the stuff I'm mulling over. I'm going to be sharing some thoughts on that in a podcast form, like I said, in the near future. So we're home now, and I'll probably take a little break from vlogging so I can catch up on things and focus on some music and things like that. But we have plenty of content coming out in the days ahead. Thank you for being with us, for journeying with us. Please continue to stand with us and tell a friend. We want to see the kingdom of God come on earth as it is in heaven, the will of God to be done here on earth as it is in heaven, in the United States and around the world. We're doing our part, we're praying and we're acting, and I pray that you will join us in both prayer and in acts and here on this channel. All right, we'll see you guys next time. God bless.